Why is that not so? That's not loud here. Make it louder. There you go. An enthusiastic response. Guadalupe Maximo is first in the chat room today. That's too loud. See, I wasn't expecting it to be that loud. You're not going to fool me, Guadalupe. I've been told who you are. Welcome back. Wrong sound effect. That's way too loud. That is. Back off the mic. There you go. Peter's here. Hi, Peter. Good to see you. Come on, everybody. I'll let you file into the chat room. Here we go. We're picking up now. I didn't see Taronda today. That's all. That's one of the things that just sets me at ease. When I see the first person in every day is the same person. I like that. Welcome to the hunt. Leslie's here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let me tell you a little bit about this show. This is a good one. I had fun putting this one together. I am overcompensating for, the stress and the anxiety of it being Pledge Week. More on that throughout the show. Making real progress. Yeah, I got to say, maybe that accounts for my spring in my step, if you will. Let's see. What does the show do? What I like to do here is it's an attempt at a stream of consciousness. Not an attempt. I do it every day. I just like to make it seem harder than it is. What is a stream of consciousness? Well, that's when somebody just kind of talks and talks and talks and talks, and they don't have any governor. They don't have any filter. They're not worried about what they're going to say next. They just go. And I will do this for you starting a couple minutes ago when I began. Hi, Taronda. There she is. Oh, man. Adam putting me to the test. I get you, brother. I understand it. Adam says I need to have a good show or he's going to switch over to the Rangers game. Fucking Rangers. Woo. Got to compete with them. No, thank you. So what is this show? The show is, as I said, it's a stream of consciousness on current events, on all of the things that are happening in today's world. I'll give you all the hot topics, the trends, whatever it is, headlines, whatever it is people are screaming about. I'm going to tell you why they're screaming about them. I'm going to scream about them for a couple of seconds, and then we move on. That's what we do on this show. We perform the show in 4 quarters. I break down 4 separate segments to create this one seamless stream of consciousness. Well, not seamless because we're breaking them into quarters. There is a seam there. Quarter 1, antecedently on this day. This is where we go through all the events that have helped shaped this day in history. We look for rhythms. We look for patterns. We look for anything that's going to give us the degenerate's edge on the events to come. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. If you don't, just Quarter 3, we call that the deads. That's where we take people who died on this day, notable quotables, if you will, celebs. We open up their life resume and we decide based on our understanding of Judeo-Christian criterion whether or not they went to heaven or were damned forever to hell. That's fun. We sit in judgment of celebrities in quarter 3. That's good. Quarter 4, that's the bulk of the show. That's pretty much the whole back end of the show. More than the back end. It's the first 3 quarters probably takes about 30 minutes. Then the fourth quarter about an hour and a half. That's all the headlines, hot topics, current events, anything that's happening in this world that you need to know about. I'm going to run through them in this stream of consciousness style without stopping, with no breaks, no commercials, no nothing, no music, no. Sometimes there's breaks. Like, gotta be honest. I'm being honest today. If I'm playing weatherman here, there's 65% chance that there might be a break today. Here's why. I think I might have to tinkle. I do. I think I might have to go to the bathroom. I don't know. Not yet, but at my age, it creeps up on you. And all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I got to go to the bathroom. So that's something that might happen. But here's something that won't happen. We don't do on this show. We do all the things that people can talk about without having to hate one another. We don't do divisive topics. Yeah, sometimes we do, because I enjoy being divisive in non-political ways. You know what I mean? I'll take a contrarian stance on some. We just don't do it based on politics or who you voted for. We don't care about that. You red hats, I got some red hats, a bunch of red hats in the chat room. They, for the most part, keep it under control. Got a bunch of libs in the chat room. They keep it under control. And a testament to what we're doing here is the fact that they've all been in this chat room for years. That's right, this show. Saying the quiet part out loud every Monday through Friday at noon since 2021, 2.5 years. So I love it. I love this little group that we got here. If I ever get to a more financially stable place with this show, I think we should do a party. Or depending on how the parties go, well, we can have a fight club. It might be fun. Fight club based on the chat room. Nah. Okay, so that's that. That's what the show is. Now, how is the show? What is the show? Why does the show? Those are all the questions that we ask. This show runs on your support, and it is Pledge Week. As you can tell by the green banner, as we get closer to the end, it's going to be bad. Here's how the show runs. Nobody in terrestrial radio, none of the big three, your Cumuluses, your Odysseys, your iHearts, none of them are interested at this point in putting on talk radio that isn't either politically exclusive or sports. That's it. And you know me, I followed Howard Stern for 20 years in Chicago and then here in Dallas. I didn't follow him in Chicago. Oh, actually, I did when I was producing and sidekicking on a show. Anyway, point is this. That kind of talk radio doesn't exist anymore. They used to call it shock. I was never really a shock guy. I mean, we understood where the boundaries were. We would go right up to the boundary, and we've never been fined. That's actually something we're kind of proud of. That we worked at one of America's most notorious shock houses, as I like to call it, Live 105.3, and we were never fined. We were the safe show, and we got pretty risque at times. But I think it's because I had a woman. I think it's because I had a strong, powerful woman who was participating on an equal plane. And therefore, not to say it indemnified us from the judgment of the outside world, but you didn't screw with her. She did what she did, and she stands by it. She did what she did. Like I'm talking about some cryptic thing. She did what she did. She killed those babies in that desert field, and she doesn't deny it. No, that's not what I mean. I just mean that she was a powerful, strong, independent female voice, and I think that helped us a lot when people were like, we should criticize them. But we were never fined. Anyway, that's not even the kind of talk that we're trying to do here. I'm trying to do current events talk. I'm old now. I'm just talking about the world without getting into the crazy politics. And the show runs, if you want to support that kind of talk radio, as you have done monthly. You've saved us at the last minute every month for easily the last year. I mean, there was a period of time, as soon as I had some income coming in, we dropped the pledge stuff. Still accepted tips because why not? But we didn't drive. The show wasn't dependent on that. I think if all things go according to plan, that we might be able to do that again starting next month. Nothing is for sure, man. Are you kidding me? I've been trying to call an audible on my radio career because I'm starting to see the rise of wagertainment. And, I've always been anti, like I always talk about how I feel that wagertainment, which is the genre of radio that's popping up now from coast to coast, I've complained about it. And I've said that, boy, you want your local sports station ruined. You just wait till legalized sports betting comes in. However, there is another side to that. That's just a very personal lament of mine own. The other side to that is if you want radio to survive, wagertainment is the way to do it, because the top grossing radio stations in America for the last 2 years, since DraftKings and BetMGM and Bet Rivers or whatever, in the years since those companies have become things, they've saved radio. The biggest billing companies in America are sports radio stations in major markets that do sports gambling talk. So that's wagertainment. There's a new station in San Francisco that's fascinating. It's like an iconic old school station in San Francisco that completely flipped to wagertainment. All they do is sports talk based around gambling. And it's coming to Dallas. It's absolutely coming to Dallas. Well, I mean, when I say absolutely, after it's legalized, and it's going to get legalized. Like, you don't think Cuban sold out of the Mavericks so that he could go into that casino property out there by the airport with the Adelsons in Vegas because he doesn't know something, do you? I mean, come on, the rich people all know. Everybody's just got to get their slice. That's what's happening right now. But it's coming. And so that's kind of been my focus. I'm like, God, can I do wagertainment? I bet I can. I got a lot of degenerate gambler friends. So I'm spending all my time watching YouTube videos on people who purport to be entertaining wagertainers. I'm not against it if it saves radio, is my point. And if it saves me, gives me a job. Anyway, we'll see. I don't know how we spun off on that. Actually, I do know how we spun off on that because this is a stream of consciousness. Getting back to it, you want to support the show, we need to raise, what's the number at? I think it's 165. 165. Started the week at, wasn't it 275? We started the week at 275. And so in 2 days, we got it down to 165. We need to clear that by Friday. So anybody that can help, come on, dude, come on. That's all we need. That's it by Friday. And we move forward into another month. I would like to thank the people who have supported this week, the big tippers of this week. Let's see. We got April, of course. We started out with April and Gen C. They were exec producers for the first 2 days of the show. Then we had Pat, my old buddy, Pat. Thank you so much to my old buddy, Patrick and I go way back, man. We go all the way back. He was in the original Magnificent Seven, which was my running group. And then I guess he got married and stuff. I don't know. And I guess I started, I don't know what happened, but whatever. The original running group. Saw Pat recently. He looks old. He probably said the same thing about me. He looks old. Saw Pat at the Improv. He came out to the comedy show. Joel B, thank you. I see you consistently. You're one of these dudes, man. Thank you. Terry, Barney, whatever. What are we calling him? We calling him Terry. Again, same goes for you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. A lot of us, a lot of people just don't have money to be throwing away on something stupid like this, but you guys do. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank, hold on, I need a drink. James Parker just hit me up. I'm going to be on WBAP today. He wants me to do 2 segments. Can I do 2 segments? Hold on, let me respond to him before I get back to thanking the people who make this show possible. Can you do 2 segments? Yep. And yep. All right. Expanded 2 segments of me doing my Hollywood scumbag report. I don't know what we're calling it. We don't have a name for it. Just Hollywood Report with Pugs. So that's today at 4:30. I'll be doing 2 segments with my good friend James Parker, 93.3 here in Dallas, Fort Worth, WBAP. All right. Where do we leave off? We left off talking about Barney Terry. Okay. Who else? Hold on. I got to wait for the scroll to come because I got hot takes on everybody. Not hot takes, but, personalized thank yous. I wish there was a way to speed up the pledge. How you guys doing? You guys doing okay? We having fun here? Don't worry, we're going to get into it. Frank wants to know if I figured out PayPal. No, I haven't. And it's so weird because PayPal and Venmo are owned by the same damn company. I don't know. But I appreciate you asking, Frank. Thank you so much. And I appreciate anybody who's donated to PayPal, but that movie, I have to figure out how to get to it. Okay, so thank you, Terry Barney. Thank you, William. But it comes up William, but Bill. I'm going to call you Bill. And Sugar Tits. Thank you so much to Sugar Tits. That's Jen. We have it worked out where she's totally cool with me calling her Sugar Tits. Okay, Mama Beller. Mama Beller's in the chat room. She's a great supporter of the show. We appreciate her, but I'm going to go off on Mama Beller. Don't bring that Cubs garbage in here. Don't bring that Cubs garbage in here on a week when I have placed a new knickknack in my White Sox and Sports Shrine. Chili Dog MVP, the story of the great, look at him there. He's such a handsome guy. The great Dickie Allen used to smoke ciggy butts in the dugout and then go win an MVP. He was nuts. He was awesome. Chili Dog MVP by John Owens and David J. Fletcher. I love that book. After I finished reading it, I'm going, that's going up on my wall. Eckhart Press, if you're interested in Chili Dog MVP. The Crazy Life Story. So I'll probably see there, Sally, Grandma Beller. She's not Grandma. Well, she is Grandma Beller. Jesus. Most of the time, yeah. What was I saying? So don't bring that Cubs garbage in here, or when you bring it, just expect me to meet it with some White Sox love. My White Sox absolutely suck. I don't know why I even have any White Sox love. All right, that's it, folks. If you want to help support the show, You can do it. And we're done talking about it. And we're going to move on because I have faith that the show will be saved because that's what happens. I'm going to leave that up and we'll move on with the show. There we go. Byron, you're the male sugar tits, but I referred to Jennifer. I don't see, that's why. I don't know if she wants to be Jen or Jennifer. Sugar tits. So thirsty today. I made meatballs. Because my kid loves my meatballs, so I made a whole bunch of meatballs, and I've been eating nothing but meatballs for 2 days. I think I used too much garlic salt. I'm like, I need like to drink a bottle of Gatorade after like having 3 meatballs. That's what I'm going through right now. Are we ready? It's going to be a good show. All right, if we're ready, I need one more drink. Maybe this is why I feel like I'm going to have to go to the bathroom at some point during the show. Let's get started. It's the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. It's the 3rd day of April, year of our Lord, 2024. The stream is now in full effect. Let's get going. Do you know today, April 4th, 94th day of the year? 95, freaking leap year. 95th day of the year, leap year. 271 more of these remain until the end of the year, although I don't know. It might be 270, it might be 272. Who knows? This is all screwed up because of leap year. I can't do this kind of math on the fly. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to quarter one antecedently on this day. This is where we run through events that have happened on this day, and I riff a little bit about them, and maybe we all get a little bit smarter, but probably a whole lot dumber and confused. On this day, antecedently in 1818, the United States Congress, affirming the Second Continental Congress, adopts the flag of these here United States with 13 red and white stripes and 1 star for each state. 20 at the time. All hail Old Glory. It's a good flag. Objectively, it's a good flag. It's got a lot going on. It's jazzy. It's a jazzy flag. My people, my Irish, lame flag. Like 3 colors. You could have put like a griffin, like a real, you know what a griffin is? A griffin is like a dragon with a lion's head. You could have put, which is kind of like the symbol of Celtic culture. You could have put a griffin in the middle of that, and then you could have had the green, the white, and the orange. But no, you just went green, white, orange. Block, block, block. You'll get it quick. You think you're talking to Italians. How is it different than darn Italians? Now, hold on. James telling me what he's going to ask me about. This is different. There must be something big that he wants to get into because typically I bring the content when I appear on 93.3 WBAP, the James Parker Show, 3 to 5 in the afternoons here in Dallas, Texas. Oh, all right. That's fine. He's going to ask. I won't tell you what he's going to ask me because that would ruin the surprise. I don't want to talk about it. I'll talk about it and I'll do my professional best. Good flag, America. We went with a good flag. We were jazzy. We were young. It was kind of a punk rock flag at the time. You know who else has kind of a cool flag? England's got kind of a cool flag. I like England's flag. Who else has a cool flag? I don't know. Moving on. Let's see. Texas. I like the Texas flag. Texas has a cool flag. The state of Texas. Moving on. Antecedently on this day in 1841, William Henry Harrison dies of pneumonia. He became the first president of these here United States to die while in office. 1 month. 1 month, this guy. On this day, he died April 4th. He was sworn in. He took the oath of office on March 4th. 1 month, William Henry Harrison. I don't even know who replaced him. Like some Tyler guy, I think. John Tyler, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Here's what I do know. There is a popular misconception about how he got the pneumonia. The popular idea is that he gave such a furious speech at the inaugural in a rainstorm that he caught the flu and that turned into pneumonia and then he died. That's not true. He was fine after the inauguration, and he was actually pretty healthy for a couple of days. But then he used to take these walks every morning. He'd go down to the market. Yeah, the president would walk out of the White House and walk to the market. Hi, everybody. I'm the president. Crazy. No motorcade, no nothing. Biden just came through my neighborhood a couple of weeks ago, and it was like the 5th Armored Battalion had to go with him just to ride through one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America. So here you got William Henry Harrison just walking to the market. It rained. Got sick, caught the flu. Died. They did all kinds of crazy stuff to try and save his life, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. Here's the thing. We need to put it into perspective. They did, when they were treating him, they were using leeches, they were bloodletting, they were using mustard packs, all kinds of stupid shit. They were doing all this stuff. And they believed, now remember, they believed at the time that they were on the cutting edge of medical technology. What else could we learn? I mean, we know just about it. They thought that they were there, just as we do now. So much shit we don't know. Like, what kind of stuff are we doing? Like, what kind of stuff are we doing now that's common practice that years from now people will be like, well, why did they do that? I think chemotherapy. I do. I know it saved people's lives, and I know it's been very effective for a lot of people. But I just think that seems pretty barbaric. Lobotomies in recent history, we used to just take people's frontal lobes out. Like, nah, they're fixed. They're drooling basket cases, but they're fixed. At least they're not irritating and scary anymore. We used to do things. Anyway, William Henry Harrison died on this day in 1841. Antecedently on this day in 1904, take note of this, 2 magnitude 7.1 earthquakes are among the largest in the history of Europe. They strike Bulgaria and the mountain regions surrounding, killing over 200 people and causing massive destruction. That was on this day in 1904, 2 big earthquakes in Europe. Separate, different, but in the same general area. On this day, antecedently in 1905 in India, a 7.3 earthquake hits the Kanga Valley, killing 20,000 and destroying most buildings in Kangra. I don't know where Kangra is. I hear it was nice before this all happened. Okay, take note of that. 2 big earthquakes on this day. Big ones. Sevens. Both earthquakes, all 3 earthquakes that I just mentioned, 7s on this day. 2 in 1841 and 1 in 1904. I'm sorry, 2 in 1904, 1 in 1905. Antecedently on this day in 1964, the Beatles occupy the top 5 positions on the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart. All 5. Beatles. That, my friend, is a hit album. I don't know what they were, though. Okay, I'm guessing I Want to Hold Your Hand. I'm guessing Please Please Me. All right, I don't know. I'm guessing maybe what's that? She was just saw her standing there. I can't name them. I don't care. Antecedently on this day in 1968, let's bring the tone down and get serious. Martin Luther King died today. Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated by James Earl Ray at a motel in Memphis, Tennessee. Woo. As you know, I've been to that place. It's pretty wild. It's a really great museum. The Civil Rights Museum, the Hotel Lorraine Hotel there. Shit. Hold on. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a problem. Oh boy. Crap. Hold on, guys. Need a minute. Stream needs to stop. Need a minute. I am so sorry. I'm not going to stop the stream, but I need a minute. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. We are in the middle of antecedently on this day. A couple of things I want to address. I just had something very strange happen to me. uh, it's happened a couple of times over the past few years. And I've kind of figured out what I need to do when it happens. Um, it happened the first time it happened on this live stream. And it was like, I didn't know what was going on. It's happened a couple of times. I've been told that it's diet and exercise related, so I got to get on that. When I started to talk about the Martin Luther King assassination, which occurred on this day, antecedently, I felt the only way I can describe it, and if you go back and you watch it, if you watch, you'll see that I'm struggling. Like there's something happening. The only way that I can describe it is my body, my full body experiences a bass drop, or just I get lightheaded for a second, and then I start to I can't really talk. I've been told it's anxiety, although I've never had anxiety before. I've been told that it's symptomatic of panic attacks, although I'm not necessarily panicky. You know, I've been told it's a diet and exercise, which is probably the case because I eat very poorly. I eat so poorly, I've been losing weight. You're eating poorly when you eat a lot of garbage food packed with tons of calories and you still lose weight because there's absolutely no protein in it. So yeah, I could eat better. I need to eat better. But man, it's weird, like flop sweat. I start to feel the flop sweat, so I apologize for that. I had to disrupt the stream of consciousness for my own medical emergency, which it clears up in like a couple of seconds. It's just, blood pressure or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Isn't low blood pressure better than high blood? I don't know. I'm getting older. I have these things. God, don't even want to tell you about it. I mean, I'm fine. It's not anything we need to be concerned about. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I saw a conversation in the chat room here about the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis. And my guy Barney, not Barney, it was Byron, a man after my own heart. He says he's been there, and then he did the thing that I do every time I go there. I say, and when you go, you must get Memphis barbecue from the place across the street because it's incredible. It's like some famous barbecue joint. Picnic tables. It's big. Like it's big for tourists and stuff. It's right there in the tourist area, but it is really good, man. Really good. Byron says, sounds like the beginning of an SVT episode, like I have. That drop followed by a 215 heart rate until I fix it. Plus, today is April 3rd. Holy shit, is it? Did I do the wrong date? Holy crap. Oh, crap. Well, fuck it. That's okay. We're having a medical emergency. Oh, my God. But am I ready for tomorrow? Thank you for pointing that out. See, I've been like sketchy all day. I've been a little bit fuzzy. I accidentally put the wrong thing together here. It's because we had inspectors here all morning. And I was forced to kind of do the show a little bit differently, put it together a little differently, different habitat than I usually do. The property here is for sale. So we had inspectors here all morning long, and I had to keep the dog blocked in. Ah, boy. All right. That's okay. We'll do it on the fly. It is. You are right. April, I can't believe that I did all this stuff. And I was wondering, I'm like, why am I not hearing more about, hold on. April. Let's do it. I'll just do it on the fly. Oh, this is so, and during Pledge Week, my God, during Pledge Week, I have this kind of a screw up. And, I live in fear of this happening. All right, April 3rd. Ready? Let's do April 3rd, antecedently on this day. It's April 3rd. Thankfully, it's April 3rd. That gives me, an extra day. Let's see here. Edward the Confessor is crowned King of England. That was antecedently on this day in 1043. Nobody cares. Let's see. On this day, antecedently in 1882, in the American Old West, Robert Ford kills Jesse James. Never saw that movie. Wasn't that a good movie? Everybody says that's a good movie. The death of the assassination of Jesse James at the hands of the coward, whatever. I never saw it, but I hear it's good. On this day in 1885, Gottlieb Daimler is granted a German patent for a light, high-speed, four-stroke engine, which he uses 7 months later to create the world's first motorcycle, the Daimler Reitwagen. Of course, Gottlieb Daimler would partner with his buddy Carl Benz of that's how you got Mercedes. Well, Mercedes, Mercedes is Carl Benz's daughter. I think Gottlieb Daimler, I think that he might have been, were they both car designers? I don't know. I just know that Carl Benz made a car and he called it the Mercedes. It was the Mercedes-Benz. And then he partnered with, Gottlieb Daimler. And, now you have, Daimler Mercedes or Daimler Chrysler, whatever it is. I don't know. Antecedently on this day in 1888, Jack the Ripper, the first of 11 unsolved brutal murders of women, were committed in or near the impoverished Whitechapel district in the East End of London occurs. Jack the Ripper first strikes on this day in 1888. Antecedently on this day, 1922, Joseph Stalin becomes the first general secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. How'd that work out? On this day, antecedently, in 1948, during the Cold War, U.S. President Harry Truman signs the Marshall Plan, authorizing $5 billion in aid for 16 countries that we'd flattened during World War. That was the start of it. Rebuilding Europe. What are we spending all that money on other people for? Because we blew up their stuff. We also saved them. I mean, there's an argument for both. But, if you wanted a stable Europe that was free of, the rise of new dictators like Hitler, you had to make the people happy. And I think that was the concern in post-war Earth. I think the concern was that we keep the people in Europe cool for a while. That's what happened. On this day, did I miss this one? I missed this one. In 1936, Bruno Hauptmann is executed for kidnapping Charles Lindbergh's kid. That's terrible, the Lindbergh baby. Charles Hauptmann executed on this day in what year? Bruno Hauptmann on this day in 1936. Okay, here you go. So we'll get up to this point. On this day in 1968, Martin Luther King delivers his "I've been to the mountaintop" speech. He's assassinated the very next day. More on that tomorrow. Antecedently on this day. Oh, yeah. Okay. Martin Cooper on this day in 1973. Martin Cooper makes the very first handheld mobile phone call to Joe S. Engel at Bell Labs. How exciting. Wasn't that the wait, is that the one? Was that the one? I was always raised to believe that the very first cell phone call happened out in front of Soldier Field, and it was done like Motorola or something, but maybe it was Bell, called Bell Labs back then. I don't know. Whatever. Let's see here. Bobby Fischer on this day in 1975 refuses to play in a chess match against Anthony Karpov, giving Karpov the title of world chess champion by default. Yeah, that was like a thing back in the 70s and the 60s. Like the person who was the world chess champion was famous. I saw something funny yesterday. Apparently, the Queen's Gambit, that show about chess that's on Netflix starring Anna Taylor-Joy. I've never seen it. People are like, it's good. And I'm like, it's about chess, right? And they're like, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, pass. I've never seen it. But apparently there is a Queen's Gambit board game. There's a Queen's Gambit, a show about chess board game. So chess. So it's chess. So you're selling chess boards with Queen. Anyway, Bobby Fischer made a big stink in the world of chess on this day. Let's see here. What else? What else do we have? I'm trying to get some more modern stuff. On this day in 1996, suspected Unabomber Ted Kaczynski is captured at his Montana cabin in the United States. Montana, Ted Kaczynski. The pride of Evergreen Park. He's from every Southsider. The South Side of Chicago can fill every category. What do you need? What do you need? Serial? What do you need? Like legendary mass killer of beautiful young women? Sure, we'll give you Richard Speck. Absolutely. What do you want? You want a Unabomber? We got you a Unabomber right here. Born in the same hospital as yours truly. What else you need? Anyway, move on. Let's see here. Texas law on this day in 2008, Texas law enforcement cordons off the YFZ ranch. Eventually, 533 women and children will be taken into state custody. What is that? What was that story, 2008? What is the Y? Oh, is that the, that's the one. Isn't that the one with Jeff's, right? Let's see here. The Yearning for Zion Ranch. El Dorado, Schneider County, Texas. Yeah. Okay. This was that Jeff's guy. I forgot what his story was, but he was Warren Jeffs, but he was like a big molester, something like that. Not something like that. Absolutely like that. All right. Antecedently, on this day, in 2010, Apple releases the first generation iPad. The first iPad came out on this day in 2010. Anything else? Anything else? No. Oh, yeah. 2018 on this day, the YouTube headquarters shootings. A 38-year-old gun woman opens fire at YouTube headquarters in San Bruno, California, injuring 3 before committing suicide. All right, there you go. That's antecedently on this day. Let's do some birthdays. Let's see if I had a good draft for today's birthdays. What is Adam talking about? Hold on. Adam is telling me something. I don't know. Anyway, don't want to get distracted. I'm desperately trying to do a first 3 segments on the fly for you. All right, birthdays. Let's see here. Anybody that jumps out at me as I scan quickly through the birthdays. 1783, Washington Irving. He's a writer. I should know more about him. Actually, I think Washington Irving is a white guy who I always thought was a black guy, because that sounds like a black guy name, Washington Irving. But I think it's a white guy. Hold on, let me click on his picture. Is there a picture of him? He's a white guy. All right. Let's see here. Who else? Give me some people that were born on this day that I can rant about. A lot of people born in the 1800s getting listed here. Don't know any of them. Dooley Wilson. Apparently he was a big actor in the 1880s. Let's see. Leslie Howard, another actor. I don't know him. All right, here we go. 1900s. 1904, born on this day, Iron Eyes Cody, American actor and stuntman. Hold on. Let me see something. Is this that guy? Yeah. He's Iron Eyes Cody. He's the Indian. He's the crying Indian from those, he wasn't. He's not an Indian. He was cosplaying as an Indian. Cultural appropriation, and the native community loved him. They made him like an icon. He was like every tribe that he'd go to, they'd make him an honorary chief. Italian dude. Cody was born Espera Oscar de Corte on April the 3rd, 1904, in southwestern Louisiana. A second son of Francesca Salapitro from Sicily and her husband, Antonio de Corte from southern Italy. He had 2 brothers, so he's Italian. There's not even a doubt anymore. Old Iron Eyes Cody out there cosplaying as an Indian, making a lot of money, making himself famous. Sally Rand, also born on this day in 1904. Sally Rand, she was interesting. She was like the first American, she was considered a whore. She was considered like, she was a fan dancer. She introduced the art of fan dancing at the World's Fair. That's where she'd come out naked, but on her arms she had 2 giant, you've seen the fan dancing, and it's always like, I saw it. Like you just barely see anything. It was so weird. Let's see here. Who else do we got? Born on this day, Doris Day, 1922. Doris Day, she's a big star. Go ask your grandma about Doris Day. She'll tell you all about her. Born on this day in 1924, Marlon Brando. He's a big star. Also ask your grandma about him. Born on this day in 1926. Take the hat off for one of the greats. American, was it? No, he wasn't. Was he? I thought he was. Okay. American colonel, pilot, and astronaut Gus Grissom. Godspeed, Gus. What else do we have here? Moving through these quickly. Born on this day. No. Jane Goodall. She liked monkeys, right? She's the monkey lady. Jane Goodall, born on this day. excuse me. Born on this day in 1942. How about Wayne Newton? Wayne Newton was like, Wayne Newton for like 40 years had Vegas on lockdown. That was him. It was Wayne Newton. He was the main attraction in Vegas because contemporary relevant artists didn't see playing Vegas as something that was in their best interest, because the American population, the public, the tourists who would go to Vegas, they came to expect over the course of years that people who were on the downside of their career, who couldn't tour nationally, they were getting what are now known as residencies in Vegas. And if you were a big star playing in Vegas, that was like, nope. So Vegas developed their own people. And, you had Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton was the homespun, developed Vegas super entertainer. Siegfried and Roy, a guy by the name of Danny Gans would dominate. Carrot Top, was the first guy who kind of went from being a regular touring person to just a permanent Vegas guy. Now it's huge. Now everybody from Celine to U2 to Madonna, everybody does Vegas residencies. That has changed. But Wayne Newton made a whole lot of money being like the only dude there. How about this? Born on this day in 1944, Tony Orlando. Remember Tony Orlando and Dawn? Have you ever watched Tony Orlando and Dawn? Like, go to YouTube. Now, I'm not talking about the variety show that they were given. They were massive stars. I'm talking about their act. Look at Tony Orlando and Dawn's act and go, why did they become super famous? What was so special about that act? Tie a yellow ribbon. He was a lounge singer, Tony Orlando. Anyway, seemed like a pretty cool guy. He didn't question it. He wasn't like a dick about it. He seemed awesome. Tony Orlando, still alive. Good for him. Born on this day, let's see, who do we got? Give me somebody. Give me Lyle Alzado, 1949. Lyle Alzado, NFL great. Played for the Raiders. I think he died of complications due to 40 years of taking steroids straight to the gonads. Let's see, who else do we got here? Ray Combs, born on this day in 1956. Ray Combs, man. Ugh, if you ever read the Ray Combs story, what a depressing thing that is. Ray Combs was the host of Family Feud, took over for Richard Dawson. And he seemed like a nice little guy, but he wasn't Richard Dawson, so we all hated on him, because that's what we do. If we love the guy, we love the legend leaves, we blame whoever replaces the legend for not being the legend. That's what we do. You always say, I hate this new guy. He's not the one I miss. You never want to be that guy. You never want to replace the legend. You want to replace the guy who replaced the legend, because the guy who replaces the legend will be gone in a year. Great example of that is when David Lee Roth replaced Howard Stern. He was purposely set up to be that sorbet. I mean, all these years later, we talk openly about it. Nobody at CBS Radio thought David Lee Roth was going to succeed, but they understood that the wake of Howard's departure was going to be deadly for anybody who sat in that chair and tried to fill it. So they set somebody up. They set up David Lee Roth. It was like, this is terrible. I don't know, it was terrible. It was different. It was different. I would have listened if it had kept developing. He's an interesting guy. So Roy Combs has to replace Richard Dawson, and he ended up killing himself. It's not necessarily directly because of that, but just because he had depression and all that. It's a terrible, sad story. All right, moving on. Born on this day in 1961. How about Eddie Murphy? How about the great Eddie Murphy? Can I talk about an Eddie Murphy movie that I don't think gets enough love, and I don't think people really pay attention to it, but they should, because it is one of his best. I mean, just based on Rotten Tomatoes and based on critical acclaim and all that shit. Have any of you people ever seen Bowfinger? Bowfinger is Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin. It's weird. It's dark. It's a satire of Hollywood and how Hollywood is just, they don't really care about substance. All they care about is, ringing that cash register. Bowfinger. If you want to see Eddie Murphy act, Bowfinger is really good in Bowfinger. Happy birthday, Eddie Murphy. Born on this day in 1962, Mike Ness, American singer, songwriter. Mike Ness is a punk legend. Social Distortion is a punk legend. Mike Ness was, he never got big, but it's like, For people of a certain generation who are into a specific genre around a certain time, Mike Ness is like a god. Mike Ness of Social Distortion. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1962. Born on this day, I'm trying to go really quickly here, folks, because I don't have a whole lot prepared. Born on this day, let's see, 1967, Purvis Ellison, American basketball player. That's a terrible name to be stuck with, Purvis. Born on this day in 1971, how about Peekaboo Street? She was a skier. She got famous mostly for a chapstick commercial. Peekaboo Street, born on this day in 1971. Born on this day in 1972, how about Jenny Garth? 90210, almost too pretty. When I first saw Jenny Garth, I'm like, blonde, she checks every box. Maybe she's too pretty. She's almost too pretty. Born on this day, 1973, Adam Scott. I love Adam Scott. Isn't there a golfer named Adam Scott too? Wait, which one is this? Yeah, it's the actor. Yeah, I like Adam Scott. Parks and Rec, right? Vodka commercials with Adderall Annie from Community. I always forget her name. Her name is Bree something else. Allison Brie. There you go. Let's see here. Born on this day. Let's see. No, we don't need. Colby Schmolders, born on this day in 1982. How I Met Your Mother. I liked her. Her character was funny, man. Her character on that show. I know everybody's like, Barney. I'm like, no, that chick that used to be the Canadian television star when she was a teenager, that chick's funny. Let's see here. Anybody else? We're getting up to the end of it. Just a bunch of YouTube stupids. YouTube stupids. There you go. Born on this day, 1998, Paris Jackson. Is she Michael's daughter? I don't know what's going on with her. What is she? Is she Michael Jackson's genetic heir? Progeny? I have no idea. Does Michael Jackson have any kids out there that have Michael Jackson genes in them? I would just be interested. Because I don't know. Those kids, are they his? I think that like that Debbie Rowe is their mom, right? But he didn't. I don't know, man. The Michael Jackson thing. I can't wait for the Michael Jackson movie. It's going to explain a lot. I need to see that movie. You know why? Because even though I was present for all of the silliness of Michael Jackson over his career, and the greatness cannot be denied, separate the art from the artist. There's a lot of silliness associated with his, personal life and all that. But the artist stands alone. I was there for it all, but there was so much conflicting information and so much stuff that sounded crazy. I don't know what to believe. I have no idea what's true and what's not true. I don't know who these kids are. I think Paris Jackson's really pretty, though. I think she turned out really pretty, which I don't know what that means. None of them look. So I remember Michael Jackson when he was a little kid. I remember what Michael Jackson looked like when he was a little kid. Michael Jackson did not look like the same person. We all know that. He was obsessed with plastic surgery. Maybe there was some skin bleaching. His complexion did seem much lighter by the end of his life. The nose wasn't the same. So my point is this. None of those kids look like Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson was a kid. And they're not kids anymore. Like Paris Jackson, she's 25 years old today. 24, 26 years old today. Oh my God. But I don't know. I don't know if he's like Jeanette. That's just something I'm wondering about. All right, let's get into quarter three, dead people. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died on this day. Again, we are doing this very slipshod. As Byron pointed out, I put together the wrong list. That's okay. I'm one day ahead now. We're making it work. Let's see. Who died on this day? 1600s. There's nobody of note that we're going to want to say. Jesse James. Okay, Jesse James. That's right. He died on this day in 1882. He was shot by that coward, Robert Ford. I don't know, President Ford. I don't know, whatever. All right, Jesse James. We know what he was. He was a criminal. He's a bank robber. Actually, you know what? I don't know who he was. You know who I know who Jesse James was? Because of the Brady Bunch. I know the Brady Bunch taught me two things. They taught me about Jesse James and they taught me about Benedict Arnold. If you watched the Brady Bunch when you were a kid like me, you learned about those two historical figures through the narrative of Sherwood Schwartz. So I don't know what Jesse James was, but I feel comfortable putting him in hell because... Didn't he murder somebody? Didn't Jesse James murder? God, think about that scene now. I'm thinking, okay, remember the Jesse James? No, you don't remember the Jesse James story arc on Brady Bunch. The Jesse James, I think it was Peter. Peter had decided that his hero was going to be Jesse James. And there was, did he have a dream where they were on a train and a train robbery was occurring? And didn't Jesse James murder Mike Brady in the dream? How dark for the Brady Bunch. Peter, and that's, I guess, how Peter decided. He woke up. He's like, I don't want to be Jesse James when I grow up. No, well, good, stupid. You're like 15 years old, Peter. What the hell's the matter with you? That's all I got on Jesse James. Dead on this day in 1882. We're definitely sending him to hell, though. All right, let's see what else we got. This is going to be hard. Usually I like to do a little research on these people before I send them to hell. Dead on this day in 1971, Joe Valachi. The Valachi Papers. Joe Valachi was a made guy, Bonanno, I think. Bonanno crew out of New York, one of the 5 families. And he had papers with everybody's names and all this information. And I don't know. I get the Valachi Papers and the Pentagon Papers screwed up. One of them has Joe Valachi, the other one, Daniel Ellsberger or whatever. I don't know. Here's what we're going to do. We're putting him in hell, Joe Valachi. You can't be a member of one of the 5 families and think that you're going to go to heaven. Even though I know, according to like gangster movies, you all confess to priests all the time. But no, that doesn't really work, my friend. Let's see here. Who else died? Dead on this day. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Come on, give me one that I can go out on. I mean, there's a lot of people that I can mention who died on this day, but I just don't know what to say about them. I don't know if they should go to heaven or hell. Dead on this... no, can't do that one. Oh, no. Yeah, no. All right, that's it. We're moving on. That's going to do it for this segment. Look at us. We muscled through. We muscled through the first 3 quarters of this show. On the fly. Pinky Lee. I don't know what to say about Pinky Lee. I know the name, but I don't know whether we put her in heaven or hell. She an actress? It said she's a musician. The rule is actresses all go to hell, not necessarily female singers. All right. There we go. How you folks doing? It's been chaotic. It's been a chaotic show here during Pledge Week. Which you can't have chaos during Pledge Week. That's not good. The show has to be deserving of your tips and your support. Feel a lot better, though. Whoa. Seriously, a half hour ago, I had to take a break. Something weird happened. I feel great now. Yeah, okay, so Pete, help me out with this. So on the Brady Bunch, it was Jesse James was Peter Brady's hero. But do you remember, Bill? Do you remember, didn't he kill Mike Brady? Wasn't that part of the thing? Didn't he shoot somebody? He shoot a Brady or something? I'm fairly sure it wasn't one of the kids, but I think it's like he shot Mike Brady. And then that's how Peter was like, let's see here. Guadalupe says regarding Michael Jackson's kids, might be his seed, but he never penetrated anything but little boys. Okay, I don't know that to be true. Here's what I do know. I don't think it's his seed. Those kids do not resemble any of the Jacksons in any way, shape, or form. I don't see it. So I don't think it's him. Mama Beller says Pinky Lee was a kids program in the late 1950s. Well, it says here it's a person. Person who hosted a kids program, maybe? I don't know. All right, that's going to do it. That's the first 3 segments. Let's get into the topics of today. By the way, I promise you, these are absolutely today's topics. These are not tomorrow's topics. If they were tomorrow's topics, wow, wouldn't I have a trick in my bag? That would be something if I could predict what tomorrow's hot topics are going to be. So rest assured, this is all very real. Can I just complain one more time about a medical thing that I'm experiencing? And this has been for 2 weeks now. So my son wants to be a long snapper. He has decided that, worst case scenario, he could possibly get a scholarship based on these additional skills that he's going to have in his bag. So he's working really hard at becoming an ace long snapper, which I applaud. I think it's brilliant. So I've been taking thousands of these long snaps from him. By the way, he is spinning it now. He is spiraling it right back. I've been to a lot of kids' games in his age range. I have never seen a long snapper spin it. He's spinning it. That's awesome. But I hurt my arm. I hurt my arm. I don't know how I hurt my arm. Must have been from and then thrown it back. I don't know, but I hurt this arm, my left arm. I can't. It's like every night I'm doing yoga moves with it, to try and stretch it out. It's never going to feel better, is it? That's just one of the things about being 54 years old. It's never going to be better. It's just this now for always. Oh, yikes. All right, let's get into all the things that are trending today. The big top story, let's talk about Taiwan first and foremost. I saw this way. It's happened live for some reason. I don't know how I saw it, but I just happened to put on Twitter, and the first one that popped up on the refresh was 3 seconds ago. And it was breaking news. BNO, who I follow, BNO News, they do great breaking news headlines on social media. They had the very first word of what was being reported to be a massive earthquake in Taiwan, Taipei, actually outside Taipei. Some of the crazier video comes from Taipei. Here, I'll show you some of this video here. 7.4 earthquake. Well, here, first, what I'll do is I'll give you the details on what happened here as I pull up these videos, because we've got some really wild video, as is the case. Anything big that happens in the world today, we've got wild video of it. Everybody's filming. Nobody's running anymore. Everybody's filming. It says here, a powerful earthquake has rocked the entire island of Taiwan, collapsing buildings and creating a tsunami that washed ashore on southern Japanese islands. Wasn't that bad of a tsunami, though. Wasn't as bad as they thought. Also, it looks like we've got more weather-related things. Although, are earthquakes weather-related? I don't know. I tend to categorize them in weather, natural disaster kind of a thing. A powerful earthquake has rocked Taiwan, leaving 7 people dead. The number is expected to climb. More than 700 are injured, and nearly 80 have been trapped in tunnels and in collapsed buildings. A 10-foot tsunami warning has been triggered in Japan. That tsunami warning has since been pulled back. The quake was so strong that it rocked the island entirely early Wednesday morning, with dramatic footage showing entire structures toppling. Buildings in the eastern city of Hulian, I'm guessing the pronunciation there, were seen shaking to their foundations. Here, we got some video. We'll show you a bunch of these videos. All right, here, you know what I'll do? I'll just pull up this page, and then we'll just scroll through them, because I think I shared most of the videos that I wanted to show. There we go. You got to share that, baby. There you are. All right, so here's, we'll show this one first. Boom. These are people driving on the highway. Look at that. Just driving. Morning rush hour and all stuff. Look at that bus. Look at that bus. Get me off this bridge or whatever structure it is I'm on. That is, I've never been in an earthquake, I don't think. I was in a place that had an earthquake, and they're like, did you feel the earthquake? I'm like, no, not even slightly. It's still shaking. Holy crap. One more time. Let's see how heavy shake it gets. I think the bus on the left is a good indicator of how powerful the shake was. Holy crap. All right. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see here. No, I'm sharing through all these stuff on my page. No. What is that? Oh. No, not that. Hold on, we'll get there. All right, here's another one. Let's watch this. This is these are mudslides or something. So It's like the whole side of the mountain is falling down. Okay, that's it. Buffalo.
重的地震，汤方，重的地震，汤方。
Now, here's what I say about this. Okay, you are looking down the road. These people are like, we're safe. It's happening down there. But they are also right next to them. So look at the hillside. The camera's going to turn over to where they are. And I swear there's like shit about to fall. Just get away from the hillsides.
Oh, 那个还在流。
Look at that.
我的车在这边。
Here. Look at the stuff falling. Get the hell out of there, man.
重的地震，汤方。
Earthquakes are scary. Scary business. What is this? Is this the river? I don't care about the river. Okay. Waves in a canal. That's not a good one. I don't care about that. Here, this building. Look at this one right here. This building completely. I mean, there are people on the ground floor there. There was a supermarket they set in there.
爸爸，不要太靠近，你退后。
The whole building just lurched forward and kind of crushed whatever was in its lobby. Oh my God. All right, what else? Do we have any other video? Let's see here. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is looking at the Taipei skyline. This is just a static, webcam. There's more of that building. What if you were like, see, like over here? What if you were on that balcony when it lurched forward? Would you have been? Really? Oh my God! All right, we're good. 311. Good thoughts. Keep them for the people in Taiwan. Goo. I mean, that's the kind of shit, right? That can happen. We don't understand dick about. We think we do, but we don't really understand everything. This shit could happen at any time. That could happen. The earth could just, for some reason, decide to rip itself open. A giant asteroid. I'm telling you, man, life is fleeting. Enjoy life. Enjoy every day. Live every day like it's your last. Because it very well could be. All right, moving on now. The other big story, World Central Kitchen. Let's talk about this. This is that charity organization run by celebrity chef Jose Andres that does like a lot of really great stuff. I used to joke. I'm like, yeah, because, pheasant under glass is exactly what people need when they... But he doesn't do that. What this does is it sets up kitchens and food lines and all that stuff for people in some of the most... desperate spots on earth. He's been heavily involved in Gaza, getting food to the people in Gaza. And yesterday, while a convoy of World Central Kitchen trucks were leaving the area where food comes in, the foods come in over the water, they load them up on the trucks, and then the World Central Kitchen trucks, they drive into Gaza and they distribute foods, and they're backed by the UN. Everybody's cool. They're all like, okay, we don't kill these people. They're like the Red Cross essentially, but not. And Israeli missiles blew up their convoy and killed 7 of the charity workers for Jose Andres' World Central Kitchen. Israel did it. Israel admits to doing it. Israel says it was a mistake. Israel's very apologetic. Now this is different than the Damascus, Syria, Iranian consulate that the Israelis blew up. They're still not flat out saying it was them, but they're saying if it was us, it was a Quds force head. So the Israelis, they're bombing everything. This is a bad one though. This is the kind of thing when you kill a bunch of like aid workers who are over there risking their lives to just put food in the belly of some people who are trapped in a war zone. It's a bad look on the global scene. 7 aid workers have been killed in the strike in Gaza. 7 aid workers from Chef Jose Andres' World Central Kitchen were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza on Monday. Andres' organization has been leading the efforts to get food to Gaza by sea and has delivered tons of supplies to the enclave via a ship from Cyprus over the past few weeks. World Central Kitchen said it was pausing its operations in the area after the attack, and the Israeli military said it has been reviewing the incident at the highest levels. Andres' group said 7 were killed. Let's see here. They were from Australia, Poland, and the UK and Palestine. One was a dual citizen of the United States and Canada. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron confirmed Tuesday that 3 British citizens were among those killed, calling their deaths completely unacceptable. It's just a bad thing. Netanyahu is really making some enemies of people that, not good looks. Not a good look. I'm so torn on this, though. I mean, look, I have compassion and I have a heart, and I think that, okay, you're just pounding the hell out of these people. I understand the horrors that were perpetrated against the Israeli state on October 7th. Terrible. They had the will of the world on their side. And I was with them. I'm like, sorry. I go, this is just what happens. They've got hostages. Give the hostages back. They're not giving the hostages back because they're being bombed. It's like, stop the bombing, and then we'll talk. So we've gone through that process about 20 times now over the past 5-6 months. Those always break through. Maybe you get 1 or 2 hostages released, but there's a whole bunch more still there. And think about those people. I mean, I don't know. We've always said in regard to Israel and their military capabilities, they're the pit bull of the region. Don't F with them, because when you F with them, they're coming hard. And we always talked about that. Like, yeah, you're not going to want to F with the Israelis, man. They're going to come get you. They don't care. They're going to take everything because they are in the right. That was always the argument. But we're seeing that play out in real time now. We're seeing that cavalier, dismissive, yeah, the Israeli army, man, they can just kill all of those people in just a couple of bombing raids. We're seeing what that really looks like, and as it turns out, we're all hypocrites. Because I can tell you that I personally am a little freaked out by some of the stuff I've seen. I blacked it out completely over the last month or so because the stuff just got too bad. The video, we see it now. We're actually forced to confront that cavalier. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Get people out there. It's a genocide in Gaza. I don't know it's a genocide. It's indiscriminate killing without any regard for seemingly civilian versus military targets. Seems like they're just, indiscriminate. Well, because it's because they surround their citizens with military. Okay. See, it's complicated. This is why I stream at noon. Very complicated. Both sides have an argument. But what both sides should be in lockstep with is that this is not good. What is happening is not good. The mass death, the carnage, what is happening to that? Well, they brought it on themselves. Did they all bring it on themselves? I mean, I'd like to see the results of, because I used to say in the early goings, well, those people, they had open elections and they just elected the Hamas people. But now I've seen stories that sort of make me think, because apparently those elections were close. And there was all kinds of belief that the Hamas officials were, engaging in, voter intimidation and all that. And I believe that. My point is this. So I don't really know, as I sit here on April the 3rd, if I can still lean on the argument of, well, those people elected the terrorists, because that's seeming to be less and less likely as we learn more about this. Oh, hold on a second. 1 second. Hold on, sorry, I just have to respond to someone. And we're done. All right, moving on. That was good. That was a good way to get me out of that. All right, so we've covered Taiwan today. We've covered the World Kitchen. There's this silliness happening in Oklahoma. This Oklahoma politician. Did you hear about this guy? He's up there in Enos, Oklahoma. He was on like some city board, and he got elected, and then it turned out that he was like a white supremacist. And how did they? Well, they can't just accuse him of that. Nah, they found his social media post. Come on. He was a recruiter for a white supremacist organization, and then he was marching with, some white supremacist organization in Charlottesville. I did all that stuff. Anyway, I didn't really run on that. People that voted for him, that elected him to office there in Enos, Oklahoma, they didn't really know that. And then suddenly it became known. And so there was a recall last night to get him out of there. And he got demolished. good folks of Oklahoma, this town of Enos. They got together and they were like, "Yep, nope, sorry, dude. We prefer our institutional racism a bit more veiled, a bit more nuanced. You're a little too on the news." On the news. Oh, I almost said on the news. That's a terrible thing. On the nose. A little too on the nose, my friend. So he's gone. He's out. How about the latest on Rashee Rice? Rashee Rice, everybody's famous degenerate wide receiver of the moment. Rashee Rice, SMU kid, grew up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, North Richland Hills kid, went to SMU, played his college ball here, got taken in the second round by the world champion, Kansas City Chiefs. Had himself a season, pretty good season. Not bad. Didn't get 1,000 yards, but that's okay. He was just a rookie. Besides, when you're splitting time getting passes with him and, Travis Kelce. Anyway, he's a good young receiver in the NFL. He also turns out world-class asshole, just like world-class. Got into an accident on Saturday night here on 75 Central, right here in the neighborhood, if I'm being honest, between University and Lover's Lane, 75 Central, heading northbound. Probably heading to the Cheesecake Factory up there at North Park Mall or something. Racing caused a 6-car accident. Lamborghini racing a Corvette caused a 6-car accident. Video is out there. We've seen the video. But the most shocking part of the video is how after the accident occurred, everybody involved got out of their... Oh, the people who caused the accident. 2 people who caused the accident got out of their car and just walked off into the sunset together. Didn't check on anybody. Didn't say, "Hey, is everybody okay here?" Nobody. They just got some stuff out of the car, carried their bags away, and just disappeared into the night. Well, upon a little bit of police investigation, we determined that the car, the Lamborghini, was owned by Rashee Rice. But guess what? So was the Corvette. That's right. Both cars were owned by Rashee Rice. They all knew each other. They were friends. They're like, "Hey, let's go race up 75. So where in the world is Rashee Rice? I don't know if he's in hiding, but he's speaking through his attorney. He's got an attorney. He's got Royce West. Now, those of us here in Dallas, we know Royce West. Royce West is a Democrat. Yeah, Democrat state senator. Very popular guy. He's also Jerry Jones's attorney, right? He's that guy. I think Royce West, he made his name. I interviewed him once. He made his name defending Carter High School. Remember Carter High School? It was the team my friend Greg Hill played on. Carter High School. I think Greg Hill played for Carter. Or is that somebody else on it? It doesn't matter. Royce West is defending him. He's saying they issued a statement because, these statements are always, Rashid would like everyone to know. No, you would like everyone to know and think that this is what Rashid is saying, but it's not. He's taking full responsibility for it, to which I say, now, after they ran the plates, now he didn't take full responsible for anything, not before he caused the accident, and certainly not after he was just walking away from the carnage that he wrought there on 75 Central. So he's a piece of shit. Let's see here. What else do we know about this? He's taking full responsibility. He's cooperating with police. Both cars we now know are registered to him. He is offered the Corvette he owned outright. I guess he just paid cash or something, but he owns the Corvette outright. The Lamborghini that we believe he was driving. The Lamborghini is leased in his name to a North Texas Lambo leaser, and he has apparently already reached out to them because they're talking to the media. Apparently, he's reached out to them and said, "I'll just pay for the whole car." So now he's got to just pay for the whole car. Do you want to know what he was leasing that car for? That Lamborghini, the black Lamborghini SUV that we all believe Rashee Rice was driving because he was leasing it. Do you know what $1,700 per day? That's right. That's what he was leasing. That's NFL wide receiver money. He was leasing a car that cost him $1,700. That's like $700,000 a year to lease a car. How bad is your credit, young man? You just buy that car for what? Maybe it was one of them weekend leases, like he was just in town. And he's like, "I'm going to lease a fun car." And maybe that's it. Maybe he didn't have a long-term lease. I don't know. We'll find out. Kansas City Chiefs have remained silent on this, as has the NFL, pending investigation, as they always do. I have to tell you, When this first happened, I thought he's done. They're going to cut him. I think he's going to walk. I think it's going to be absolutely. I think that he's probably not going to miss any games. I don't think the NFL is going to do anything. I can't believe it, but it sure as hell seems like it. Unless just tomorrow they announce something big. But it really does seem like he's going to be fine. Well, nobody got hurt. That's a lot of people. Nobody died. Stop making the correlations between him and Henry Ruggs. Nobody died here. Yeah, luckily. I heard Mike Reiner the other day say that he thinks he deserves like 60 days in jail. Yeah, I think that's right. I think 60 days for this kind of bullshit. Absolutely. He wrecked both of his cars. His Corvette's wrecked. The SUV's probably totaled. What else? What else was there about these people? These guys that all got out. We still don't have a positive ID on whether or not that's Rashee Rice. There's a lot of internet sleuths out there that say that the dude walking with the red do-rag over his head, they're saying that that's him. But here's the other thing that's really interesting about it. If you watch the video, they knew they had been prepped. Here's something I learned in the last couple of days talking to one of my rich friends about this, who's an attorney. I said they just walked away. And this attorney was like, yeah, that's probably what they're advised to do. That's what you do in this kind of situation, especially if you know you're drunk, especially if you know that, you've got guns in the car, or you got whatever. He was just speaking hypothetically, but he said, yeah, they're told to do that. And then he pointed something else out to me that I thought was amazing. He goes, watch the video. He goes, they knew enough in the moment. They knew enough to have nobody get out the driver's side. Nobody got out the driver's side, not because it was caved in, but because that's another thing. People are going to be videotaping. You do not want to be videotaped getting from behind the wheel of the car because you need to be able to argue. So when you look at the video, all three of them got out the passenger side. They knew to do that. They also walked away. I'm like, you can't just walk away. And this lawyer was like, you're so middle class. You're so programmed to follow the rules. What do you mean you can't walk away? You absolutely walk away, especially if you know you're going to get a DUI, especially if you know that you got weed on you, especially if you know there's a gun in the car. You get the hell out of there. And they can't prove any of that once you're gone. So at that point, it's just a car accident. And you can survive being responsible for a car accident. It's all of the other shit that they would have found out had you stopped. So I was shocked to learn that. That is how, well, the other thing that I learned very early on, an attorney told me about, the DUI things. Don't ever take, if you've had a couple of drinks, don't let them take any tests. Just tell them, nope. Don't give them any evidence. And all athletes know that. That's why every athlete gets arrested when they get a DUI, because no athletes take the test. And that means that you're going to be arrested. These are rich people tricks. These are things that irresponsible, young, wealthy athletes are being told. They sit in a symposium at NFL headquarters or the winter meetings or the draft sessions or pre-draft sessions, whatever. They sit in these meetings where somebody, a former player who's now a reverend, and he's going to get up there, he's going to tell you, young blood, you got to be responsible. You got to be a good citizen. You got to look at Henry Ruggs. They show all these cautionary tales to these kids, and they all sit there half asleep because this isn't real. This is just checking the box. We got to go through this if we want to. How many people in your workplace take the sensitivity training seminars or the sexual harassment seminar? How many people take them serious? Nobody. And that's exactly how these kids process this new NFL initiative to make sure these kids know about drinking and driving. You're just trying to indemnify yourself so that you can say, well, we tried, which is probably better than nothing. But the minute they walk out of these things, they walk into a hotel suite with their agent and their attorney, and then they get the real story on how to do this. And that's where they learn things like never get out of the driver's side. Always, if you're driving, you climb the back seat and you get out the passenger side. You do not come out. They also tell you to leave. Leave, get out of there. Are you drunk? Because you don't want to have those compounded charges of racing, causing an accident, and now you're drunk, which just amplifies everything. So get out of there. Make them prove you were drunk. Go into hiding for a couple of hours and then come out and go, yeah, I was panicked or scared or hurt. I wanted to run to the hospital. Whatever. You can make any excuse you want. At that point, you let your high-paid attorneys and people like that speak for you and explain how you're just a victim in all of this. And they can do it because the cops don't have, we found a gun on him, he was drunk, there was weed in his pocket. They don't have any of that evidence. It was eye-opening talking to this guy. He's like, he didn't. Now, this attorney friend of mine, he wasn't telling me that this is what he would do, but he's saying this is what they're told to do. He goes, that is what if you know you're a degenerate criminal who has just done something and you are dead to rights because something like this accident has happened, your best bet in that moment is get the fuck out of there. You would rather be wanted for leaving the scene than for being found at the scene, half in the bag, with a gun in your bag, and, a one-hitter in your pocket. Those are all things that make it rough. So I believe that that's what happened with Rashee Rice. And I think that, the interesting thing here in Texas is that we have this law about street racing, where if you are convicted of street racing in the state of Texas, and it looks like that's what they're probably going to have to get them on, street racing. If you're convicted of street racing in Texas, the state seizes your vehicle. And in this case, it's going to be both. So he's not going to be able to get any, or the Lamborghini they're going to take, Corvette they're going to take. And that's probably the worst thing that he's looking at. And then after that, the street racing thing, then maybe the NFL will chime in or the Kansas City Chiefs. But as I understand it, both the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs can't punish him. I think that's a players union thing, a new players union rule. So right now it's like the Kansas City Chiefs are sitting there waiting to see how it plays out, and the NFL are waiting to see how it plays out. And they're probably in some way, some manner, some form of communication between the two of them going, like the NFL says to the Chiefs after they have all the information, well, here's what we do. And then the Chiefs go, but here's what we do. And it's a little bit softer. And then the NFL goes, okay, whatever. And that's what'll happen. Maybe, he's being held out of OTAs or, something like that, something stupid. He's going to get away with it. Frank says Rice will just a new car from Dome KC Mo. Dome car deal. Sorry, Frank. I tried. Buddy. I tried to read I couldn't make heads or tails of it. Barney says, never take a field sobriety test. You aren't going to pass. They are just trying to film you falling over. 100%, Barney. Now, this is, look, if you know you're not drunk, if you know you haven't had any alcohol, take the field sobriety test. As a matter of fact, what they say is tell them that you are going to forego all of the road antics and you just want to blow. Let's blow right now. Let's get it over with. Otherwise, you'll be there an hour. If you know you're not drunk and that's what they think you are, then say, I'll blow. Because if you have nothing in you, they're going to let you get, you're just fine. They'll go, sorry, go be more careful, whatever. But if you know you're drunk, if you've been drinking and you're a little bit buzzed, and we all need to be able to understand where we are, in that. I know when I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to stop now because, so if you know that, you get pulled over and they accuse, I smell alcohol. Would you mind taking some tests? No, it's in your best interest to go, no. Well, what happens next is we have to take you down to the jail and process you. And then you have the choice because that's going to suck. That's going to absolutely suck. Your night's ruined. Your night is ruined and the next day is ruined because you may not get to see a judge. You may not get out for like 24 hours. God forbid it happens on a Friday and they hold you over till Monday. Don't drunk drive on Fridays. That's another piece of advice. Don't do it on Mondays. There's a much larger chance that you're going to be stuck there for multiple days. And that is brutal. Take you in because you're not taking the test. And then what they're doing is they're gathering information in a different way. They're just filming you. Barney's right. They want to film you falling over. So when you say, I am not going to take this road sobriety test, put me in cuffs. They'll put you in cuffs. They'll put you in the backseat of the car. They'll train the camera on you. They'll start talking to you. So tell me about yourself. If you feel confident enough, answer their questions, but don't over answer. You're probably in your best interest to just shut up, because what they're doing is they're trying to get examples of you slurring. They want you on camera going, well, I was born here, but I'm not drunk. Like they want that. Why? Because they're going to show it to a judge. They're going to show it to the judge when you claim I wasn't drunk. So that's all it is. It's just about, so sit there. Don't say a word. Be nice. Don't smile like an idiot. Don't do that. Understand that you have to perform in this little movement. They're also, here's a trick that they do here in Dallas. I've heard this from multiple people, and I went through it myself. They put you in a big room with a chair in the middle of the room. And there's cameras in the room. And they just lock you in there for like, I don't know, half an hour. They see what you do. They want to see. Because a non-drunk person might just look at the chair and sit down and be like, this sucks. And just sit in the chair. But a drunk person's going to walk. We're going to look at things. They might move the chair around. They might, and when they're sitting there, they might slump. No, sit in the chair, know that you're being filmed, and just don't sway. Don't just sit in the chair. Don't give them any tape. I know this is all bad advice. This is all like antisocial advice, but it's all true. And it's all what lawyers tell you about these situations. And we shouldn't be surprised that Rashira just left, didn't care about anybody. He'd been advised that. We knew it from the moment we saw everybody in the car exit from the passenger side. They went in, they had a checklist probably right there in the glove box. Like, okay, we just crashed street racing. Get the checklist out. And then somebody's like, okay, we must all exit the non-driver's side. All right, let's do that. Check. All right, second, we must all just leave and don't talk to anybody and don't look for anybody injured. Just move. Get out of there. Check. Rashid. Also trying to make something out of this. I don't know. I'm not a hater. I just know what I. But the NCAA women's tournament is getting all. That girl, Angel Reese for LSU, I don't know if this is true, but when I close my eyes and I picture her as one of those girls with like really long fingernails, like really like bedazzled long, because she's got the whole rest of the style going that suggests that's a thing. But you can't have that. I don't think she has that. I like that Angel Reese person. I know that I'm supposed to be, that's like, well, she's the bad guy. I'm like, why is she the bad guy? She seems pretty cool. I like her. I liked her when she was talking about how everybody was mean to her and about how it affected her and all that. She's a bit of a thug, out there on the basketball court, but so was Michael Jordan. So was Luka. I mean, that's what champions are. They play with that thug mentality. There was never a bigger thug in the NBA than Larry Bird. I mean, that's the attitude. So, I like that they hugged each other. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. That was nice. That shows the competitive spirit of, I just want to win and all that stuff. But anyway, let's talk about the ratings for that game, because the ratings were gangbusters. TV ratings. Iowa at LSU NCAA rematch sets an all-time record for women's basketball. Folks, they had 28 people watching. That was a joke. And far more than, they had 12 million viewers for the Elite Eight matchup. I was not one of them. I was not one of them. I'm sorry. I'm not watching the Met. You're a misogynist. No, I'm not. I'm not. Not a misogynist. I was raised by a single mom. My single mom could do anything. I was not one of these kids who thought, I can't do that because you're a woman. No. My single mom could do anything. So that's not where I come from. I just am unfamiliar with women's basketball. The amount that I am familiar with it hasn't dazzled me. It's been like, oh, good for them. And it is. It's good for them. But, NBA basketball is more my thing. Men, big, giant, 7-foot freaks, slam dunking and throwing elbows. I mean, that's what I like. I came up. My NBA love came up in the 1980s and the 1990s when the East Division was just a bunch. Talk about thugs. Just a bunch of maulers. So that's the Knicks, the Cavs back then, the Pistons. Oh, the things that they did to my Bulls. Because they couldn't beat them with talent, so they just had to throw those elbows. Bill Laimbeer, I'll never forgive Bill Laimbeer. I'll never forgive John Starks, if we're being honest, but we'll move on. Last year's NCAA Women's Basketball Championship set an all-time record for a women's game on ESPN. And a rematch of that game, albeit 2 rounds earlier in the tournament on Monday night, drew an even bigger crowd. Iowa's 94-87 victory over LSU averaged 12.3 million viewers for ESPN. That's the largest TV audience ever for a women's basketball game in the United States. And I don't begrudge that. Don't get it wrong. Just because I wasn't one of the person watching, it doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, good for them. Good. They really crossed over and connected with 12 million people. Good for them. I'm not one of them. I'm not binary like that. I'm not an absolutist. If you like something that I don't appreciate to the same level that you do, I don't judge you for it. I just go, but they've got some life experiences that are different than mine that have allowed them to enjoy something that I just can't find connection with. So largest TV audience for a women's basketball game in the United States. The previous record was set more than 40 years ago. 40 years ago. That was okay. So that's an interesting thing. All right. So this year's matchup between Iowa and LSU that we were just talking about with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Iowa's 94-87 victory over LSU averaged 12.3 million. Now, we look at that and we go, here it comes. All right, that is proof positive that women's basketball is on the rise. Well, it's actually not. Because the record that it broke was from 40 years earlier where they had an 11-9. So it's only 0.31 and 0.3. I don't know what I'm saying. It's not that much larger. The second largest game happened 40 years ago, 1983. And that was the Cheryl Miller year. Remember that? I don't know if you remember, if you were old enough then, but Reggie Miller and Cheryl Miller were quite the thing. Wait a second, they're brothers and sisters and they're both the best of their gender? It was an interesting time. So Cheryl Miller, that team, she was USC, right? Yeah, USC, featuring USC legend Cheryl Miller. That one drew 11.83 million. Record stood for 40 years because that was an anomaly game. People watched that game. 11.8 million people back in 1983 watched that game because of Cheryl Miller. People were interested in Reggie Miller's sister. Oh, really? And it became a thing. And then for 40 years, there wasn't another anomaly game until this past week when we're all tuning in for Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, right? That's what that was about. So I don't think that it's necessarily, I don't think it's not, but I don't think it's necessarily an indicator that America has turned the corner on women's basketball. I think it was an anomaly game. I think it was a game that we all watched specifically for the people involved. And I'll give you an example. The other games featuring non-people named Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese averaged only 1.1 million. All the other NCAA women's basketball tournament games average about 1.1 million. This one had 12. It was obviously an anomaly. Anyway, hey, if you enjoyed it, good for you. I don't begrudge anybody who finds happiness. This world sucks. Get it where you want. I'm not judging you either. I put it on women, man. I really do. I put it on women. If women en masse would support female basketball, I'm sure that it could be, thriving. And not something that needs to be subsidized by the NBA or NBA teams that are like brother teams. They shouldn't be playing women's NBA games. We're going into it again. They shouldn't be playing in 18,000 seat arenas. That looks bad. They should be playing in field houses. They should be packing field houses so that every game that we see, maybe 3,000-4,000 people, so that every game that we see looks like that joint is rocking and is going to make people want to go to those games. But unfortunately, you see footage of a WNBA game and it's sparse. It's like a White Sox game. There's guess tonight's attendance. I don't know, -4. So that's a problem. They tried to force women's basketball on us by saying it's on the same level as, the Mavericks or the Knicks, and it wasn't. And they even play in the same place. Although in Chicago, they don't play in the American Airlines Center anymore. I think they play at UIC, the Chicago Sky. Do we even have a women's team here in town? Look at that. I'm like, I'm a guy that's pretty well informed. I don't even know. Is there a women's WNBA team in Dallas? All right, moving on. So, this next story I'm going to skip over. I'm sorry. I just don't want to get into it. It's the story of Savannah Graziano. Some incredibly awful videotape was released yesterday. I was going to show the video, but I don't want to show it. Savannah Graziano was a girl that was kidnapped by her father. There was an Amber Alert out for police. Found her father. Yeah, he was in a pickup truck. High-speed chase ensued. Like 100 cops were around him. He had spun off the road, and he was trying to get away, the father, with little Savannah there in the car. She's a teen. I think she was 15. She's a teen in the car. He kidnapped her. And he starts driving, and police just open up on the car. Gang. They shoot at the car. You drive at cops. Try and run them down with a vehicle. They have a right to shoot. You are obviously saying, I will run you over, which is a threat of bodily harm to the officer. It's in self-defense. You can shoot and try and kill a guy, whatever. So they did that. And then the car stopped. And all the police, there were cops on both sides. I don't want to show it. So basically, you had a triangulation of bullets that were occurring. And the passenger side door opens up, and the kidnapping victim, the daughter of the crazy man who was driving at cops, she gets out of the car and she starts to run with her hands up, and you hear the cops, get down, and she follows all the orders, and then she's caught. She's shot. They shot the victim as she was coming out of the car. It's a terrible video. You can find it if you want it. It's gross example of just bad training. I mean, they were shooting at cops on the other side and ended up killing the kidnapping victim. Terrible story. Here's not a terrible story. This is a fun story, and I don't even know how big a news this is, but it was going around on the Dallas Twitter, so I wanted to show it because it's fun video. Did you see this? Now, I love these guys. Can I just tell you how much I love these guys? I live in this neighborhood, Highland Park. Signed out. Hold on, now I got to sign in again. Verify it's you. Oh, you son of a bitch, Google. You do this during the show. This never happens. Hold on. So I live here in Highland Park for the time being. We'll see. Wrong path? What do you mean wrong password? Hold on. All right. There we go. And everybody in this neighborhood has a landscaping crew. I mean, this neighborhood right now, lousy with landscapers. They all come different days of the week. You can drive around this neighborhood and you'll find, Google is spinning and spinning. There we go. And you'll find, half a dozen white pickup trucks filled with lawnmowers and weed whackers and all that kind of stuff every third house, all the time. The guy's Pedro, the guy who does our place, he comes every Thursday. He'll be here tomorrow morning. He's awesome. Me and Pedro have a relationship because we need to communicate because of the presence of the dog. The dog has to be handled. I like Pedro. Sometimes I take the dog on walks, and we will see Pedro and his crew at like another house, and he'll be like, He's awesome. He's a very friendly guy. He's good at his work too. He does an amazing job here. He cleans up the dog shit. You don't have to do that. I do that. But even, if there's dog shit down there, he's a good man. And the point is this: whenever we walk down the street with the dog, and the dog sees Pedro, who is his mortal enemy when Pedro is leaf blowing or weed whacking our yard, the dog doesn't give a shit. The dog's like, hey, what's up, Pedro? Like, if the dog sees Pedro working somebody else's lawn, the dog's like, hey, I know that guy. That's Pedro. He's a good dude. I'm going to kill him if I ever get my hands on him in my yard. But other than that, he's a good dude. So I like Pedro. And I like to think that Pedro is cut from the same timber as this guy. Did you see this? This happened in the Preston Hollow neighborhood, which is that's the rich neighborhood just north of here. Some might tell you that it's a little bit nicer than than Highland Park. But Highland Park is more historic. Highland Park is like the original. This Preston Hollow, you got your Cubans. I think your Dirk lives up there. Who else lives up there? A bunch of people live up there. Anyway, here. So let me show you this. This happened. This is so. And by the way, I don't know. This doesn't happen around here. I don't, some thieves, some teen thieves, some troublemakers saw one of these white pickup trucks filled with this guy's equipment, and they stole it. They stole all his stuff. Okay, something's going on with the computer. I don't know why this is. Everything is like spinning forever. I might have to reboot the show and try and get a new connection. Yeah, this is absurd. This is trying to pull up this damn video and it's good Lord. All right, here we go. All right, let's do here. So this was in the Preston Hollow neighborhood. Some dudes were riding around in a car, ripping off these. So, you know, they leave their trucks. They got all their equipment in the trucks. They're out there around the side of the house doing whatever it is they do. And some kids roll up in a car. They see the back of the truck. They unload the back of the truck, throw it in their little crap car and drive off. However, the landscaper guy saw this going down. And he fought back. He was not going to. And I was just like, man, good for him. Because, you know. All right, there is something wrong. We've got a bad connection. I'm going to have to restart. We'll do this story, and then I'm going to restart the show. Okay, guys? Because, yeah, this is not good. We'll watch this video. So, basically, the guy sees what's happening, that his truck is being robbed. So, he runs out into the middle of the street to try and stop the car. I mean, it's man versus car, and all he's got is a weed whacker. And he just goes after these dudes with a weed whacker. One of them falls out of the car, and then he just gets attacked with the weed whacker. Anyway, I'll tell you the story. We'll watch it first, and then I'll show you the whole story. Here we go. This was in Preston Hollow, I think.
Surveillance video showing a yard worker using a weed whacker against a suspected robber. That man was working on a yard in the Prestonwood Forest neighborhood when he spotted several men in two vehicles stealing equipment from his truck. Well, as the thieves made their getaway, the man threw his weed whacker at one of the cars, somehow causing a passenger to fall out into the street. Well, that's when the worker picked up the weed whacker and attacked, showing a yard.
So how does the dude, when does the guy fall out of the car?
Worker using a weed whacker against a suspected robber. That man was working on a yard.
All right, so I think that black car is involved just by the way it seems to be speeding.
In the Prestonwood Forest.
Accelerating, I should say. And then so this is the red car. Now, a dude falls out of this car, and this dude gets his ass handed to him by the weed whacker. So let's see if we can spot where he falls out of the car.
Neighborhood when.
Okay, he was fishtailing.
He's
up. I think he just fell out, and I think we can't see him because of this mailbox here.
Several men in two vehicles stealing.
Oh, dude, you got to make sure that door is locked. You got to hang on tight because now you are in the fire, my friend. This dude ain't fucking around. You just took a whole bunch of his shit. This is how he earns his living. This is how he feeds his kids. And you're out here just trying to exploit him like this? No, son, you got to stay in that car. He didn't stay in the car. He didn't stay in the car. And dude took a weed whacker beating. Let's watch it unfold.
Equipment from his truck. Well, as the thieves made their getaway, the man threw his weed whacker at one of the cars, somehow causing a passenger to fall out into the street. Well, that's when the worker picked up the weed whacker and attacked the suspect, chasing him through a yard. You can see a neighbor then joining in.
There's something wrong with this dude. This dude fell out of the car and he did not recover. Did he like crank his head on the cement when he fell out of the car? Because this is not a dude. This is a guy who seems to be experiencing some kind of head trauma where he can't even stand up. And now he's being chased by an irate landscaper with a weed whacker. Holy crap.
From his truck.
See, like right now, he's laying on the ground. He fell out of the car and he's laying on the ground. He didn't fall out of the car, immediately scramble to his feet and run off. There's something wrong with him.
Well, as the thieves made their getaway, the man threw his...
Yeah, now he's coming to. See him? Now he's moving. So I think he knocked himself unconscious.
Weed whacker at one of the cars, somehow causing a passenger to fall out into the street. Well, that
Right now, now he can't. Now he's trying to get away. I like this guy, Neighbor Man. Dun, da, da, da. Neighbor Man is now getting himself involved in this. He's going to come over and see if he can corral this hoodlum.
That's when the worker picked up the weed whacker and attacked the suspect, chasing him through a yard. You can see a
Man, he's got spaghetti legs. I've seen that in MMA. He just got hit in the head really hard. Them spaghetti legs.
suspect chasing him through a yard. You can see a neighbor then joining in, ordering the suspect to stay on the ground. Eventually, the suspect's friends returned to pick him up. They took him to the hospital, which is where deputies found him. He's now charged with robbery. Authorities are hoping to make more arrests.
All right, so he runs off. We saw that. He runs off, and his friends in the car are like, well, I don't know why it's black. I don't know why this, but now I have no camera. All right, we're going, there's no camera. Then the camera is activated. It's just, all right, so I got to sign out. This is terrible. All right, guys, I'll come right back with a part 2. I'm sorry. This bad stream. You can't even see me. My camera's not working. I got to reboot.